It's June 22nd, 2021, and this is Sketchworks NewsBrake. The news stops here. I'm Brian Troxell. No one believes me when I say that. On Thursday, June 17th, President Biden signed a law establishing June 19th, or Juneteenth, as a federal holiday, recognizing the 1865 day when enslaved African Americans were emancipated. The establishment of this federal holiday in such a short amount of time has raised a number of questions, such as, are we getting mail? Will the banks be open? Turns out the answer was yes and yes. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a law that requires public schools to allow students to reflect and pray as they wish before class. Their top prayer? Asking God to get them out of Florida. Vice President Kamala Harris held a bipartisan gathering for female senators last week. Finally, they gave her a task more suited for women, hosting brunch. Struggling electric truck manufacturer Lordstown Motors admits it does not have any firm orders for its vehicles, despite prior claims. Lordstown Motors also admits its electric trucks are not actually electric and not actually trucks. A study shows that the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines do not lower men's sperm count. So, things are looking up, except for the poor guy counting sperm. Iowa's Supreme Court says the police cannot search your trash unless they have a warrant. In coincidentally related news, I'm sending my trash to Iowa. Don't ask why. Atlanta Public Schools have launched a new mobile office to recruit staff, because who better to take care of children than strangers in a van? Police in New Hampshire say a bandit who broke into several cars was a black bear. They shot and killed it before anyone could tell them it was a bear. A University of Central Florida report shows the pandemic-inspired baking craze can have therapeutic value. Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent Tim Millard decided to see for himself.
I feel so empty inside. My focaccia bread looks good, though. Right?
Thank you, Tim, for that fine focaccia reporting. The Associated Press reports bourbon-related tourism is helping Kentucky bounce back from the COVID-19 economic slump. Bourbon will also help you forget about the COVID-19 economic slump and pretty much everything else. NBA veteran Charles Barkley announced he will be retiring from the TNT show Inside the NBA in 2 years, citing his disgust of cancel culture. For speaking out against cancel culture, Barkley was canceled. An accused killer is suspected of forcing a woman to drive him 2,000 miles from Oregon to Wisconsin so he could surrender to police. Some people will do anything to avoid flying Spirit Airlines. A new study showed that the prevalence of bunions in the Middle Ages was caused by slim pointed-toe shoes. This goes against historians' original theory, which was the Jews. In Syracuse, New York, a briefcase of old family photos was rescued from a public park trash can. Eventually, the briefcase was returned to the rightful family, who said, "What are you doing? We were the ones who threw those out in the first place." Apparently, pictures in the trash is a trend, because 2 17th century portraits were discovered in a German dumpster. One is by Dutch artist Samuel van Hoogstraten, depicting a boy in a red hat, possibly a Cincinnati Reds fan. The second, by Italian artist Pietro Bellotti, is a self-portrait of him trying to lure children into his white van. This week's episode of Sketchworks NewsBrake is sponsored by Sketchworks Comedy. Exciting stuff, huh? And totally fair use of the music. Cybersecurity researchers say they found a flaw in the 2G mobile data encryption standard that could have allowed hackers to eavesdrop on you. Keep in mind, most smartphones these days are either 4G or 5G, so the dozen of you still using that Nokia from 1999 may want to finally upgrade. A school district in Massachusetts wants students to report all microaggressions. All incidents should be immediately reported to the school's micro-security guards. Britney Spears announced she has no idea if she will ever perform live again. And by perform, she means dancing on stage while lip-syncing her songs. Just like I do here on NewsBrake. A Tennessee man was arrested for selling a car with his girlfriend's corpse inside, because dead girls in the car means jail time for everyone, except for Ted Kennedy. A small town in Florida accidentally sold its municipal water tower in a real estate blunder. The water tower's new owner plans to turn it into luxury apartments, artisan cafes, and hot yoga studios. Nice. Anti-government activist Ammon Bundy says he's running for governor of Idaho. If he wins, this may be the biggest thing anyone named Bundy has accomplished since Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns in a single game for Polk High School. And finally this week, a man in Washington state found a murder hornet in his yard. Hooray! It's 2020 Part 2, Revenge of the Murder Hornets. Murder Hornet Boogaloo? No? As promised, that's all for Sketchworks NewsBrake. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. I'm Brian Troxel. Say hi to your mom for me.